What's up? I just got done seeing the Lanterns show. Lanterns, no green, just the Lanterns show. But it is the Green Lantern show. It's on HBO Max. And let me tell you about this show. It fucking sucks so far. I mean, listen, I don't want to be one of those guys who just hates everything. I'm not one of those guys. I enjoy stuff. Let me do a quick little review about this show, and then we'll discuss it further. I'll spoil it for you in case you don't feel like fucking watching it. How is this show? It's not good. It's just a show. It's not like, listen, this is the first episode of this series. I don't know how many episodes it's going to be, probably 8. But this first episode did nothing for me. Am I going to watch episode 2? Yeah. But am I going to watch it because I'm so intrigued and my mind's blown? No, I'm going to borderline hate watch the show because it was kind of fucking dumb. It was kind of stupid. I will say I like the actors. I don't remember their names, but Pierre, the black guy, and the white guy. I like them. They're good actors. They had a good dynamic. I mean, the dynamic of them it's simple. It's kind of tropey. But, I like those two guys. So I'll give it a pass. Those two guys are like the best thing about the fucking show, which is pretty important because they're the main characters. But this show as a whole is not good. Should you rush out to go see this show? No, you shouldn't. You should see it when you see it. It feels like Peacemaker all over again. It feels like Peacemaker last summer. It's like Peacemaker all over. They promote this show. It's like, oh, part of the DCU. This is going to be big, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Kind of sucks. Like Peacemaker Season 2, it kind of sucked. In fact, it didn't kind of suck. Peacemaker Season 2, if I had to rate that on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going in, I was hype as fuck. And leaving, I was disappointed. It was like, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 10. But we're not talking about Peacemaker. We're talking about Lanterns minus the green. There wasn't a lot of green in this episode, by the way. Maybe 10 seconds of green on screen, not including grass. Show was not good. You know what this show reminds me of? This show reminds me of a guy who's like 5'2", 110 pounds. No disrespect to 5'2", 110 pound guys out there, but it's like the 5'2", 110 pound non-gangster motherfucker who thinks he's the biggest fucking gangster. It's kind of pretentious. It's kind of pretentious. It feels pretentious. It's trying to be like this bad, tough show, but it's fucking stupid. So it's like I can't really take you serious because you're kind of fucking stupid. I'm not intimidated. I'm sorry for getting excited. I've been having a love-hate relationship with these fucking shows. I'm going off on a tangent like usual, and I'm sorry. I do that. I tend to do that. Don't watch the show. You can watch it if you want. I'm hate watching the show at this point. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it won't. All right, let's spoil this now because I've already been rambling the fuck on for fucking 4.5 minutes. I'm going to spoil the show for you right now. Now, spoiler time. The show starts off in 1996. Jon Stewart is like 12 years old. He's sitting there watching TV with his brothers, and they're watching an interview with Hal Jordan. So Jon Stewart's all transfixed. I guess he looks up to the guy. And the brothers in the room, they're tripping. They're like, come on, man, we got to go turn the TV off. He's almost here. They're worried because their dad's coming home, and I guess they think they're going to get in trouble. But Jon Stewart really wants to hear what Hal Jordan says. So he's sitting there, he's watching him, he's transfixed on the TV. The dad shows up. He walks in. They have a little exchange. Jon Stewart and the dad, they have an exchange. The dad asked Jon Stewart a question like, are you scared? Or maybe he said that in a few seconds later, but whatever. They have an exchange. They go outside. Jon Stewart's dad grabs a fucking apple, and I'm thinking, is he going to eat the apple? No, he takes the apple and he hands it to Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart then stands up against the shed and puts the apple on his head. Then Jon Stewart's dad points a fucking gun at him and is like, are you scared? And he's like, no. And then he just shoots the fucking apple. Okay, before I go off on a tangent about that, let me just continue. The dad's a psychopath. Probably should be in jail. Now it's 2016. Jon Stewart he's a vegan and he doesn't drink alcohol, but yet he's yoked to the gills and he's boxing. He gets out the boxing gym. Hal Jordan comes to pick him up in this sweet ass car, by the way. This car is sweet. It's just like some Cutlass or something. I don't fucking know. Just a little note I wanted to throw in there. Anyway, he picks him up. He's late. He's like, yo, you mad at Hal Jordan's like, you mad at me because I'm late? Jon Stewart's like, nah, whatever, dude. They're driving down the street. They have a little exchange. Then you get introduced to their dynamic where it's like Hal Jordan's like the old angry fucking guy. Jon Stewart's just really fucking tolerant of it. As they're driving down the street, they're driving down the road. Hal Jordan says to him, hey, there's a taco stand 3 miles down the road. Takes off the Green Lantern ring because Jon Stewart doesn't have one. He puts it on the dashboard and jumps out the car like it's so fucking cool. It's not cool. It looks stupid. And then Jon Stewart's in the car like, oh, what the fuck? Sweet ass car, by the way. Goes off a cliff. Boom, car gets fucked up. Jon Stewart survives. He survives because he made green bubble wrap. They don't show you, but he explains it to you. I'm assuming it was green because this is Green Lanterns. So he's walking down the street and then a hologram of Hal Jordan's conscious from 10 years ago appears to him and starts talking to him because Green Lanterns need their conscious uploaded. Whatever, comic book logic, whatever. Jon Stewart's talking to the hologram and the hologram's all like, you know, what year is it, blah, blah, blah. And he's really nice. He's not a dickhead. And then he says to Jon Stewart, there's hail in Nebraska. Tell me that. I'll know what it means. The hologram version of Hal Jordan and the real version of Hal Jordan are so different because it's been 10 years since Hal Jordan uploaded his conscious. So this is like a 10-year-old, a 10-year younger conscious of Hal Jordan. What's his fucking name? Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart's walking down the road. He sees Hal Jordan eating tacos. He sits down. He's like, you know, a hologram of you appeared to me. He's like, Hal Jordan's like, what? He's like, yeah. He said there's hail in Nebraska. And then Hal Jordan's all like shook, like, hail in Nebraska? Give me the ring. Puts it on, flies away. Like that, like, okay. Where's this going? He shows up in Nebraska, and apparently there was some, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube, but there was a lot of people around while somebody else was, you know? Then you get introduced to the main detective of whatever this town in Nebraska is, and she's a hard-ass woman. She's a little, you know, or maybe she just has a bad relationship with Hal Jordan. Whatever. You see their dynamic, and you're like, well, okay. You guys don't, you like her more than she likes you. She's a hard-ass, whatever. Who gives a fuck? So as they're there, Jon Stewart notices that there's a guy in a short-sleeved shirt who's just standing there. I think he was wearing, like, it was something about the way he was dressed that drew his attention to him. And he's like, yo, what's up with this guy? And so Hal Jordan's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to, let this sheriff handle her fucking case. So Jon Stewart's like, oh, well, I'm going to go talk to her about it. So she goes and talks to her. Jon Stewart goes to talk to the sheriff lady about this guy in a short sleeve shirt. He's basically, what's up with this dude? And she's like, oh, what do you think? I didn't notice this dude? We just didn't make a big deal about it because we don't want him to run. Then he sees the guy in the short sleeve shirt, sees that they're talking. So he fucking runs. Whatever. He gets chased down. Jon Stewart punches him in the face. The guy gets arrested. Next thing you know, we're at a bar with Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan used the fucking ring to make a $20 bill, puts it in a jukebox, picks the same song 20 fucking times in a row. There's a reason for that. It's really fucking stupid, but there's a reason for that. And he goes, sits down at the bar. He's drinking alcohol while Jon Stewart's drinking a Coke. The same song keeps playing over and over. These guys are playing pool, and they're like, hey, Hal, what the fuck? Why'd you put the same song on? And he's like, he kind of ignores him. And then Jon Stewart turns to him like, you want to go to jail, don't you? And Hal Jordan's like, yes, because his plan was, I'm going to play the same fucking song at a bar so I can piss off these fucking white dudes and then they can beat me up and I can fight them and then I can get arrested and I can go to jail. Why? Because he wants to question the guy that was at the fucking football game or that ran away. Because, by the way, that was a football game where the thing happened. And that's his major plan of questioning. I'm about to go off on it. I said I wasn't going to go off on tangents till the end, so I'm not going to go off on a tangent. Hal Jordan gets into a fight with these random white dudes. He gives Jon Stewart the ring. Jon Stewart has the fucking ring on, and then this MILF lady is sitting there talking about, oh, well, that's what's up. You're going to be the next fucking Green Lantern, whatever. You want to go to my truck? And he's like, yeah. And then he bangs her. Jon Stewart bangs this old lady in a fucking truck. He had the ring on, so I don't know if he, like, you know, made a construct. You know what I'm saying? Maybe added a couple inches or maybe some girth. That's besides the point. Anyway, he bangs this random lady in her truck. Fast forward, Jon Stewart goes to bail out fucking Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan's locked up, so he sees the hard-ass white lady sheriff, and he's like, yeah, I'm here to bail out Hal Jordan. And she's like, no, he hasn't been arraigned yet. Boom, now they're in their fucking court. Hal Jordan's trying to plead his fucking case with the judge. Because, by the way, the plan didn't work. And Hal Jordan never got to question the guy from the fucking mass thing, you know what I'm saying? And so now this random dude walks into court and wants to represent Hal Jordan. Who the fuck is this guy? I don't fucking know. Hal Jordan doesn't even know. Nobody knows who this guy is except for the fucking deputy. Not deputy, the fucking sheriff. The sheriff lady knows who the fuck this guy is. Fuck. So this guy that walks into court that wants to represent Hal gets Hal off. Not like that, but he gets him, you know, he legally, you know what I'm saying. And he says to the judge, I hate when shows movies do nonsensical shit like this. The guy gets Hal Jordan's bond, whatever. He gets him bond or bail or whatever. And his bail's like $200,000. And then he just says to the judge, oh, you'll be receiving a check this afternoon from my group. And they just let him go. It's like, no, I thought that you had to pay the money first and then you go. There's no, oh, I got you later, judge. But anyway, that happens. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how that works. But anyway, that happens. So come to find out that this fucking lawyer is actually married to the sheriff, the white lady. I forget her fucking name. Doesn't even fucking matter. So Hal Jordan's like, well, why'd you bail? Why is your group bailing me out? And he says that to the lawyer. The lawyer's like, well, because my boss wants to meet with you. So whatever. So Hal Jordan and fucking Jon Stewart go to this compound. And I'm thinking, is this one of those, it's like a militia. It's kind of like a militia. There's a bunch of white dudes around shooting like ARs and AKs and all types of shit. And, you know, it's mass security and whatever. The dude that's running this fucking compound is having a barbecue and wants to talk to Hal Jordan about aliens or some shit. Come to find out, the guy that runs this compound, his wife is the MILF from the bar that Jon Stewart banged in her truck. It's probably pointless. It's probably not going to ever come back up. Maybe it will, because I kind of saw it in the fucking preview for the next couple episodes. Is it really going to serve a purpose for the show? I don't think so, because this show so far doesn't seem... This isn't Andor. It's not Breaking Bad. Let me tell you that. So they talk about aliens or some shit. They leave. Now, finally, John is able to question that guy from the mask. They're sitting in an interrogation room. Hal Jordan is able to question the guy from the mask. Hal Jordan is in an interrogation room with this guy. Jon Stewart and the sheriff are waiting outside, or they're watching, rather. Hal Jordan is just basically like, dude, are you an alien? The guy's like, no. So he starts asking him football questions. The guy starts answering the football questions. Then Hal Jordan tries to get him with a Harry Potter question. This actually happens. He's like, what school did Harry Potter go to? And the guy's like, man, come on, man. I just watched football. A reasonable answer. You could, you know, but that wasn't enough for Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan's like, everybody knows. He says that at some point, something along those lines. Anyway, so basically he gets the guy to admit that he's an alien. And the guy's like, well, I have a thing in my mind I can trigger with a thought. Basically, I have a bomb where if I think I can set this bomb off. And then all of a sudden, they grip each other up for whatever reason. Then you start hearing a beeping like this bomb is going to go off. And then Hal Jordan uses the ring to trap the dude in a green bubble. And then the bomb goes off. Who cares? Show's stupid. If something happened after that, I don't remember, nor do I care. And I'm not going to go back and check. Fast forward. Now it's 2026 because everything that I just mentioned took place in 2016. So it's 10 years later. Jon Stewart, he's driving his sweet-ass GMC, pulls up next to old deputy white lady, gets out the car, they talk. She says, oh, man, you haven't aged a bit, or you barely aged. And he's like, thanks, man. You know it's a different time because now he's got a goatee. You know, why? How else would we differentiate between years if somebody didn't grow facial hair? So now he's got a goatee, and he's like, oh, does anybody know? And she's like, no, nobody knows. They're at the same football field where the mass thing happened. I think they are. I'm assuming they are. What do they see? They see somebody sitting in the stands. And who is it? It's Hal Jordan. And he's got a lot of snow on him because, by the way, it's snowing. And he's covered in snow and he's dead. That's how the show ended. Who cares? First of all, let's talk about a lot of shit. One, let's talk about Jon Stewart's dad. Okay, you belong in jail. You're a psychopath. What are you doing putting an apple on your kid's head and then you're shooting it off? Is this to impress me? Am I sitting there? Am I like when they wrote this, did they think, oh, this will be cool, man? Because guess what? It was stupid. It's not cool. Have these people ever watched like an actual good television show? That these writers, like, have they never seen Breaking Bad or The Wire or The Sopranos or Andor or, you know, something with some depth? Because it feels like this show is trying to be a show with depth, but it's very shallow. I wasn't impressed by that. In fact, I was thinking the whole time, that dad belongs in fucking jail because he's crazy. Because who shoots a gun at their son's head? Like, I would have accepted if he would have just been like, yo, son, put your fucking hands up. Not that I condone. Let's talk about stupid thing number 2. Again, with writers trying to be cool. The whole, like, oh, here, let me put the Green Lantern ring on the dashboard and I'm going to jump out and you have to save yourself even though you have no training with the fucking ring yet. Am I supposed to be impressed like that? Like, wow, how stupid. How stupid do you think I am? How stupid do you think we are? That's supposed to be cool? You don't know what the... You can spot a moment in a movie and a TV show where it's like, the people that wrote this thought this was awesome. But in real life, in actuality, it's fucking dumb. This is dumb. That was dumb. Like, let me just leave the ring on the dashboard. I'm going to jump out and then you need to save yourself, which he did, by the way. And by the way, they didn't show him saving himself because I don't know if I mentioned this already, but he made bubble wrap. Because Hal Jordan asked him, like, how'd you save yourself? What'd you make? He's like, I made bubble wrap. He's like, oh, you're a genius. And then let's talk about stupid ass thing number 3. Stupid ass thing number 3. Hal Jordan's stupid fucking plan to get arrested to question a guy from the tragic event of the football game. You thought that you were going to go into a hillbilly bar. They weren't really hillbillies, but like a country bar. And you were going to play the same fucking song 20 times to get these guys to fight you. Why don't you just go up and fight them? What was the point of that? Just go over there and be like, hey, push a guy and call him a pussy. You know what I'm saying? It was stupid. It was stupid. Again, I'm not impressed. I'm sorry for yelling. I'm not impressed by that. I wasn't impressed. I'm going to try not to yell. I wasn't impressed by that. That didn't impress me at all. You can see, I don't know who directed this, but I know, I don't want to be a James Gunn hater, but I feel like, I'm not going to get into it, but I feel like, you know, I don't know who directed this. I don't know who wrote it. I know this is James Gunn's universe, and I feel like, yeah, let me just say, that checks out. That checks out. I'm not going to get into details of why that checks out, but I feel like that checks out. What was the last dumb thing? Oh, that whole alien shit. The compound thing with it was just, what is this? I may have forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention, that the guy that runs the compound that wanted to talk to Hal Jordan about aliens, he's getting paid by a guy who made him sign an NDA that enables him to tell anybody who he is working for. Maybe that'll come into play later. You know, I didn't watch... Before I made this video, I came across a few videos of people talking about this show. I've only watched like 2 or 3. One YouTube channel was, you know, expressing their dislike for this show. And then another channel was expressing their love for the show. And I was just listening to these guys do this review, and I hate to call people a shill. This is clearly not good. You guys are smoking crack if you think this show is good. They gave the show on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm not going to say who it is. Doesn't matter. On a scale of 1 to 10, they gave the show a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. I would give this show, and I'm only being generous, I'm giving this show 1.5 points for Aaron Pierre. I'm giving it another 1.5 points for the other guy, the white guy, I don't know, Hal Jordan. And then I'm going to give it just an extra point for my own personal reasons that I'm not going to get into. This show's a 4 out of 10, and I'm not looking forward to the next. Okay, maybe I am looking for the next forward to the next episode because I'm so disappointed. I want to see. I'm a masochist and I hate myself, and I want to see how bad I'm going to be disappointed by episode 2, or maybe I'll be. Or maybe there's a part of me that's hopeful, like, maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. Maybe you'll go in and you'll watch this and you'll be like, you know what? This show's turning around. But as far as the first episode's concerned, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. Who wrote it? Who wrote this show? It's Green Lanterns. I'm not a big connoisseur of Green Lanterns lore, but there was literally we saw 3 constructs? At one point, Hal Jordan made a $20 bill for the jukebox. He made a bottle opener. He made a bubble to trap the alien that was about to blow himself up. And he flew, but there was no construct when he flew. He just flew away. We didn't see the Green Lantern suit. Actually, no, I'm lying. We did see the Green Lantern suit. It's an actual suit that anybody can put on, apparently. I guess we saw at the beginning of the episode where Hal Jordan was being interviewed and Jon Stewart was watching. So I don't know that much about the Green Lantern lore, but it was 5 seconds of green. I mean, I'm hoping that this show ramps up and they show Sinestro and Io and more spacey stuff, because I'm into that type of stuff. But other than that, just feels like a show that they wrote and they were like, how can we just take this script and put the Green Lanterns in it? And that's what they did. I feel like this was another show that they bought the script for and was like, you know what, let's put this in the DCU and let's make this a Green Lantern show. And you know what? So far, not working out, man. So this is a 4 out of 10 for me. If you made it this far in the video, which you probably didn't, but if you did, thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you like about the Green Lantern show. In fact, let me know what you hate about the Green Lantern show, because I thought it was fucking stupid.